Hey, it's Jennifer from Quiltin', Stitchin' and Kitties. I have got a really cool quilt for you today, and I call it Embedded Star. So obviously we're going to end up with a star. But the thing about it is so easy to make. And you only have to construct 16 blocks. All the rest are squares, and all the squares are cut to the same size. So I decided to use one charm pack of darks, I'll call them darks, and one charm pack of lights. And you can use your, of course, if you want to, but scraps would be really good too. And my quilt is going to end up 28 inches square without any borders. So that's from these two charm packs. That's it. So if you wanted to make a larger quilt and you have charm squares, you would need 2 charm packs, and you would need 2 charm packs of the background or the equivalent. But you're going to be cutting 80 darks, we'll call it, and 132 lights of whatever square size you choose. And that's it. So let me show you the one little block we have to make. I'm sure you've made them before. It's a half square triangle, but it's not exactly the same as some of the ones we make, because a lot of times we make them 2 at a time. So you get 2 squares of the same exact size, draw a line diagonally, but you're going to sew directly on the line this time. And when you do that and you fold it down, you will end up with a square that is exactly the same size of the square you started with. And then you have to trim off a little triangle, here, so you don't have that extra fabric. But that's how you make a square to a certain size, is you start with the size you make, but you make 2 pieces of fabric. So there's, a tiny bit more waste, but you've always got some waste that you cut off. And I just put my waste scraps in dog beds, and the dogs are very happy. So that's what you do. I've got mine webbed at this point. So I'm going to show you that in case you've never done webbing or you want to see what webbing looks like. It looks absolutely insane before you get the last step done. But hang on and I'll get it hung up. If you've never seen the webbing method before, it is a way of putting together blocks that are exactly the same size, where you've got basic rows and basic columns. So rows side by side, columns straight up and down. So basically what you do is you take column 1 and you have it all stacked up together, and column 2, and then you put the first block from column 2 over column 1, and then the second, and you leave your thread, and then you do the second one, third one, etc., till you get to the end of the column. Then you add column 3. So here is column 1, and column 2 has been sewn to it like this. And then you go and add column 3, column 4, all the way across. So you end up with rows left to be attached, but they're still all together. And so the really nice part is, once you've got it like this, if something happens and it falls off the table, it's still all together. So then what you do from that point is you take row 1, flip it down, sew it to row 2, and just work all the way down around the quilt. Now, if this quilt is gigantic, it gets a little more unwieldy. So you can sew like half the quilt in sections, the other half in sections, and then put them together. So that works too. So I've done this up to at least like a 50 by 70 inch quilt, and it's worked out really well. So the only hard part about this quilt is putting it together and laying it out correctly. So I built a little, I called it a treasure map, where I show you exactly how to lay out the quilt. And the thing that's very interesting about this quilt is it has what are called quadrants, which are sections of 4, that are exactly the same except they're turned. So in this being the center line of the quilt to here, this quadrant and this quadrant are exactly the same except they're turned 1/4 of a turn. So once you've got your little map on how to lay them out, then you're ready to put them up. So the only thing that can get a little tricky for you would be directional fabric. So depending on how you want to put it together, I went ahead and I put up like one quadrant at a time just because it seemed easier to do. You can lay them all out. You can put them all into sections and then put them up. But like I said, you got to be careful of directional fabric if you care. A lot of people don't care at all. So let me show you the treasure map and how it works. Okay, I've got your treasure map for you. And this represents 1/4 of the quilt. And I colored it to make it easier for you to see, but I just like coloring. So I went ahead and colored. So this is the top right, and I labeled it for myself, top right. And then all the other 4 sections are all the same. But you've got to turn them 90 degrees or 1/4 of a turn. So what you do is you line up, and this would be easier if it's all in color too, but I didn't have time. So I line up, those are exactly the same ones, and then I just turn it 90 degrees this way. So it matches, and turn it 90 degrees. So now I have the bottom left section. I'm sorry, the bottom right section. And stick that in there. Okay, and then you do the same thing for the next section. Line it up so that you've got it matching this one, and then turn it 90 degrees. And I'm going to add some more pins so it decides to stay put, because it's paper and it doesn't really want to play nicely like fabric does. Okay, and then all we have is our last section. And make sure that, oops, nope, make sure it matches, and then just turn it 90 degrees this way. And there is your gorgeous quilt. So it looks way more complicated than it is. It's one of those quilts that you make it and go, oh yeah, took me a really long time. Not really. So there's your quilt. So I'm going to put a really good picture of this so you can take a screenshot of it. This works for any size. That's the great thing about it. So if you start with 5-inch charm squares and that's what you're going to use, you're going to end up with a 63-inch square quilt. So altogether, you have 14 blocks square. So each section is 7 by 7. So I hope you like seeing this little treasure map. I'm going to go finish my quilt now, and then I will be back to show you the final result. So here it is. It's all finished. I absolutely love the way it looks. You know, I was just thinking about it. You could do so much with this design. Scraps would be wonderful, or layer cakes if you want it to coordinate. So I will put all the measurements and fabric requirements plus the treasure map right at the end of this video. Mine finished up at 28 by 28 because I used 2.5-inch squares to start. And I'm thinking a border, and not sure yet. I'm going to put up 2, and I'm going to let you guys comment and tell me which one you think looks the best. I really like both of them. I had bought extra fabric when I bought the charm packs that coordinate. And so I thought, well, you know, a border would look really nice on this. So I don't know, I like them both. I mean, I could do an little inside border of yellow and then an outside border of blue and then bind it in blue. So leave me your comments, I'd love to know. And I hope you enjoyed this video. It's always good to see you. Sometimes I feel like I haven't seen you guys in a really long time, especially if I do a video early and then post it. But this one was a rush because my sister came to visit for 5 days. We had snow and we had 65-degree temperatures. It was crazy in 5 days, but we had a great time. So if you have any questions, please let me know, as always. And if there's something you'd like to see, please don't hesitate to write me a hint and say, why don't you do a video on this? Because I love to get comments from my viewers. Take care of yourself, enjoy yourself, and I'll see you again real soon. This chart gives you the amount of background yardage you're going to need based upon the finished block size. Here is your layout map for one quadrant of the quilt. This is the top